This conference will now be recorded.
All right, I'd like to call today's Harbor Advisory Committee meeting to an order. Cassie, can we get a roll call, please?
Lewis,
Here.
Mo,
Here.
LeVar,
Here.
Costellic,
Here.
Luther,
Here.
Kanicki,
Here.
Peterson.
All right, on to agenda and modifications. If everyone's had a chance to look at those, is there any changes? If not, can I get a motion?
I would move approval of the agenda.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to approval of prior meeting minutes from February 16th. Any changes, amendments? If not, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept those.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to 2023 dock replacements by Harbor Master Shannon.
We went to the award with no problem there. Council was concerned about how we were going to kind of move forward from here. I am going to start getting ready for the replacements that we need to do at this point in time. Contracts are signed with them. They are in the process of getting us shop drawings so we can get that approved and start through that process with them. I have spoke to a few of the boaters, most of the boaters along there last year and a few of them this year. Everybody is receptive to us being able to shuffle that side around on Prentice Street until we are ready to do that. One thing I am going to be doing is trying to do a cost estimate to see if we can space those docks out, since we have to have a different assembly on the end to give us a little bit more room in between those docks. I can gain about 10 or 15 feet. So if I can do that, that'll get us a little bit of more room between them. So any concerns?
The spacing between them is going to be more. Is that what you're saying?
Possibly a little bit more than it is right now. We're going to have to take out those middle bumpers. I know there was some sadness over that, but most of them understand why. And then I think with being able to space them, that'll help out some of that. I know a lot of the charter boats like to be able to tie to both sides there, but it's a matter of us saving the $1,600 from bubbling the system all winter or having that. When I talked to that company, they were all very happy with what they had provided us in the past, or they had provided them in the past. They're on their third winter with those docks being frozen and haven't had a problem with them shifting or moving. My plan right now, and I'm looking to you guys for a little bit of input, is the creepy looking spaceship lights are going to be gone when we do this, that are on that size. Anybody got a problem with that?
Do we have any concerns with security?
What I'm going to do is put lights off the back of the tall poles
Okay.
back towards those docks.
These would be wired in, or are these going to just be like solar type?
They'll be wired.
Okay.
Yep. Other than that, any other concerns?
Timing?
Timing, I'm still hoping. I talked to my one contractor with a crane that I know would possibly bid on it and help us get it done, and he didn't seem to think that there was a problem with us being able to pull them before that date.
Did they come more or less fully assembled, or they?
It sounds like they come in sections and just need to be pinned together, I think is what it was, or bolted together when they got here.
The top boards are on already?
The what?
The deck boards are on already? Okay.
They're shipped complete, and then we jokingly, me and Elvin, joked about just floating them across if we could, But with ducks in a boat coming across, we kind of joked about that, but other than that, that was about the extent of that update. Just, checking in with you guys on a couple things that I was thinking on that. The other thing that I'm looking at is I'm going to try to squeak enough money out of that budget to actually put real honest to God dock boxes on that side. So that'll also add a little additional light on that side of it.
Then was the marina going to install those, or I can't remember what we decided.
We are right now waiting for the assembly and everything else to come through. Between Cooter and my contractor, I don't think we'll have a problem putting those brackets in. and assembling things. I'm just waiting for, again, the final shop drawings from them just to make us, I'm more worried about the ballast balancing than I am the bracketing. Because if it's the, both the 3 contractors that could come in and do this, all of them have done seawall work before.
You want to install dock boxes?
The utility boxes.
Oh, like on the other side.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, utility dock boxes.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yes, sorry. I wasn't thinking. I knew
I was gonna light it up. I'm like, how was it gonna light it up?
I'm sorry. I always call them the dock boxes in my head. I know that's
So we'll replace them with new ones, right?
new pedestal utility.
As part of this project or in the,
I'm going to bid it as an alternate with the hope that I can do it.
good,
If we're able to do it,
good start.
the existing utilities, would we be able to recycle any of them for any other sections, do you think? Or are these all pretty to the roughest of the rough?
They're not really even the roughest of the rough. They're my best operating ones, but they're not your standard typical boxes or pedestals that you guys see. These are almost look like they were prefabricated by somebody local.
Okay.
And they're not really traditionally what you see.
Cool. Any other questions for Shannon on the dock replacements?
Sounds good.
Cool. On to fishing tournaments and applications by Shannon.
So we've had a couple of fishing tournaments at this point in time give me permits to do tournaments in the marina. We've talked in the past that just want to get some feedback from you guys as far as what kind of stipulations should we be giving them when we issue them their permits. Brown trout, there's a couple weeks ago. I had another one from a bass tournament. Just trying to pick your guys' brains as far as what you're concerned about as far as those tournaments being here and being in the marina grounds.
What kind of staff issues or concerns are there that you have?
I mean, it's a lot more people, a lot more stuff. I'm not overly worried about it. If I know about it, that it's happening, it makes it better for me. I've had a couple tournaments that have just kind of like blindsided me from steelheaders and a couple others. So they've just kind of blindsided me. So I'm not, we don't have somebody on staff or something like that. So that's more my frustration with some of it is that.
Do they know now to get a permit?
And that's what I'm going to reach out to them again and just remind them nicely that we need to get a permit and, make certain the insurances are covered, things like that. When I spoke to them, when they just kind of popped in on site, I kind of reminded them that, hey, police the fish cleaning station, stuff like that. It puts me in a spot where I'm available if there's a phone call because all of a sudden the fish cleaning station isn't working. And stuff like that. I'm not wandering in Traverse City or something when those tournaments are going on then.
There isn't any big outside tournament coming up beyond brown trout. I mean, there's not.
Wasn't there?
There's a big wow.
That's
Coming, yeah.
Yeah, that bass tournament is coming in September and that's 80 some boats coming in for that. So, I mean, they're not asking for a lot. It's catch and release for bass. So they aren't going to be using a fish cleaning station or anything like that. I'm more concerned about logistics and grounds and is it okay for us to say there's no parking by marina people during those tournaments, things like that. That's what I'm getting into is, we struggled so badly last year with parking and things like that. And it sounds like it's kind of an ongoing issue with parking and stuff like that for brown trout and things like that. So what can we do to make it better for our people? We're there year round. And what can we do, so it's not such a large inconvenience to everybody involved. Staff wise, it takes some more time. We're jockeying, we're juggling, we're, getting through barricades, things like that. So I'm just trying to get a feel from you guys what your expectations are if somebody wants to come in on the grounds and basically take over for a weekend, a week, a whatever.
Take over in sense of in a slip, or are you talking about like a parking spot kind of thing with a pass? I'm trying to remember what we,
Well, just, if you think about it, brown trout comes in and basically usurps our marina.
Yeah.
There's not another word.
They're the only ones that are the problem.
Yeah, they're kind of the bigger one that we're trying to work with and everything else. It's how do we accommodate all the people who want to be here? Brown trout does bring in quite a bit of money to the community.
But they'll know all the rules for docking and the whole piece.
And that's what I want to kind of write up a solid, these are my stipulations for you using the marina for a fishing tournament or whatever. So that's what I am trying to establish with you guys is what do you feel is important?
Will like launch fee be included in the costs? Are they paying us to use it?
They pay us a whole whopping $75 and have to have insurance, lunch, and that's what we got into last year with brown trout. You know,
yeah,
they don't think they have to pay launch fees, or the participants don't think that. The bass tournament was like, how much is it? It's going to be part of their registration fees, and we will write you a check ourselves.
then, yeah.
So I mean, it's just two different attitudes towards what was going to happen. So that's what I just want to standardize it a little bit for everybody involved.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to standardize it. And I mean, last year when we talked about like the parking issues and all that, that was participants that had boats that were launching them from the docks and stuff. They got a parking pass and had a designated section, correct?
Not really.
Or was that something separate? Okay.
No, that was, they had to get a launch permit for the week, which I know upset a whole bunch of them, but.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, you're gonna be
I
using.
mean, in the past, it's been a certain way.
Yeah.
Trying to change those expectations.
Because if someone has a launching pass already for the season, they just,
They're good.
yeah, then if you don't have the pass to launch, then
Yeah, you get a ticket.
yeah, that, I don't know. In my understanding, my limited understanding of fishing, and that seems to make sense to me.
Yep.
Have that standardized.
I don't think it's so much the boat and trailer people. It's that they let everybody in and they take up the seasonal dockage spots, and then then they go into the where people are trying to park their boats and trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And then it really gets to be, they just need to stop letting people in
Mm-hmm.
that shouldn't be in there. In years past, you had to walk in unless you had a reason to be in there. That's the way
Oh, you're talking about right where that parking attendant was?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you never.
they kind of just let anyone through, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, you could drive in there. There was no,
It was like a 12-year-old kid working the gate, so.
yeah.
Well, and I know one of the things on the flip side of that is like it deters from, the marina shop and the marina storefront business because we were told by one of them, well, they kept turning away all my customers.
Yeah,
So then we're trying to come up with some kind of balance for everybody involved so that we are accommodating, as accommodating as we can be for all parties involved.
So they used to give slip people a little tag that you put in your window.
And we gave them those last year.
Okay.
And it was only the people on Prentice Street and that were at the transient docks. You had to have a slip. You had to show their driver's license and your name was crossed off the list when you picked yours up.
Okay, well, so when I went to go use my Ingling, none of that happened.
See, and
They
that's,
let me in.
okay, and that's will be something then that we need to put in the stipulations
yeah.
that, if this is then this, we'll make certain that is, passes will be issued and it'll only be for this and everything else.
You could get about one more year cleaning this stuff up and it's gonna be fine.
I think so.
Yeah.
Um,
How many trucks and trailers can fit in the parking lot?
you would ask that question and I don't know.
Okay.
I want to say probably, and that's a portion of what the problem is with brown trout is they take up so much parking space.
Right.
Well, not even.
Probably.
Other tournaments aren't gonna have that. Maybe they have
Right.
10 or something.
if everything.
You don't have the tent and,
Yeah.
I don't know
have
is
the other space.
A lot of boats and trailers.
I want to say we can park 55 roughly. If
All
We
clean.
really pushed it.
if you didn't have oddball things parked in bad spots and everything else, I think you could park 55 on lot.
Can we have someone like helping people park?
Or ask them to provide someone.
They do have.
Sounds like they
Technically,
had.
yeah.
For some of the events they do, because I've helped out with that, yeah.
Once it all starts,
Yeah,
Yeah.
ladies tournament, we'd have people helping with parking, but I don't know about
Is
the,
there a way to use, I don't know if this helps in any way. Is there a way to use overfill and use the?
We actually set up for them to be able to use overfill. You can pull a boat and trailer through underneath the canopy
Yeah.
and do that as an overfill.
Was that,
We didn't have very many boats that utilized
it
it.
wasn't really that
It wasn't bad.
busy this last year. I mean,
okay.
we went in for our Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Well, they're kind of done fishing by then too. So,
Well, and Wednesday night's a slow night.
yeah, and there was lots of room.
Well, in the old days with 100 ladies boats, that was a circus.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they're like 30, I think.
Yeah, if that, yeah.
I guess my kind of last question for me is there a way to make in the brown trout or another organization that needs to make their square footage smaller and go, hey, like, it's nice that you spread out, but does it truly need, is there a reason that it needs to be spread out the way it is? Can the food trucks be closer to the tent? Can all that seems to be condensed a little bit more, or is there a real reason to have it spread out the way it is?
Right. And that is something that we can definitely put in there, is to reduce. And they bring their trailer and they park it there all week and they take up parking spaces, just things like that. I think they can do a little bit better housekeeping, maybe, as far as that stuff is concerned.
Now, can those trailers be, and which trailers are you talking about?
Well, they have flatbeds that they bring in, like
Because can't those be parked?
well, they can be parked back over on their lot where they keep their stuff. I mean, I think that's some of the stipulations we want to see go in there. Before, brown trout had a few people that tried to or wanted to camp on site. We've tried to eliminate that as much as we can. They do have one financial person that she's older, and when you're asking her to be there at 6 a.m. and be there until 3 p.m, it makes it tough for her. So I did grudgingly allow that camper last year.
Now, they still have storage over at the end of Campbell, don't they?
I think they do.
Yeah.
In that lot?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Again, we're not asking them to haul their stuff from here to Beaver Lake and back or anything like that.
they got to get a volunteer to bring a truck down, and that's probably why he
Yeah.
doesn't want to move it back and forth, back and forth. I mean, I don't think they have the same.
Do they have a semi-trailer too that they store things in on site during the tournament?
But that's the
Trophy spot.
Oh, okay.
trophy trailer, and then it gets filled right full of stuff when they leave. So I mean, those are items that are there, but there's some of it that's over by like the big tent there that
Probably could.
is maybe stuff that we can ask them to try to consolidate down and or remove from site if it's not actively being used.
That makes sense to me.
What do you do for bathrooms during like that?
They have to provide enough porta-johns or portable toilets during that time in order to accommodate. We actually have the transient number that's given out only to our people who are in the transits. Now, does that mean that Pete isn't sharing it with his buddy Fred so he doesn't have to use the one on site? Probably, maybe. But the minute the tournament's over too, I changed the number, so.
It's not like there's a line.
No.
Saw a line that would indicate.
No, and they have quite a few.
Yeah.
Porta-johns there.
Yeah, yeah, they do a pretty good job.
And nobody really wants to dump their beer to go over to the bathroom, so.
Yeah, you gotta walk.
And I guess I'm not talking.
You gotta walk out of the
I'm
space
talking
anyways.
Other.
These other tournaments,
Yeah.
they are, again, if there's transients and the transient slips, more than likely they would have that number, and they may or may not share. Typically, we kind of keep an eye, the dock hands keep a closer eye on the bathrooms, make certain they're stocked. I'm willing to be a good landlord during that time.
Yeah.
But
does,
so long as you're not abusing us.
They're going to bring, like,
Bass?
for this bass tournament, they're going to bring porta potties in?
Yes, they'll have to have enough porta potties to accommodate.
They don't get slips right there in and out.
I don't know. They kind of talked like they might take some of the slips during that time. We'll already have boats coming out, so if there's enough seasonals that are empty, we'll probably tuck them in those locations also.
You want some formal list of,
And that's what I'm just trying to get from you, you know, what is important, what do we need to look at? You know, these are the stipulations for everything, and I just want to have kind of a list so that I can issue these 2 permits in order to make certain that we have ourselves covered for anything that you guys are concerned about.
What, now you said that the fee right now, or at least what we've been doing, is $75.
Yep.
Seems pretty
that can be
light,
Oh.
bumped up?
Well, I was gonna say,
pretty light.
if we wanna propose to increase that in the fee schedule, now's the time because we're getting
In budget.
process.
And there's a difference between someone who wants to host a physical event that's taking up a parking lot versus someone that's, you know what I'm saying? Like someone's closing off a parking lot while the other one might more just like, we're just closing off a smaller section or whatever. So I don't know how, I mean, does the staff have recommendations?
Large or small, I mean, because the brown trout obviously takes a lot of staff time.
Yeah.
But maybe someone else who just wants to come in and have an ice fishing tournament or.
Yeah, you don't want to be hitting them with
Yeah, like you don't want them to have to pay $200 or something because it's not really any time on our part.
Yeah, we're going to throw a couple barricades out.
Yeah.
Like that bass tournament, we're going to close that parking lot. We're going to close for overfill over underneath of the canopy. And then I think we're going to close the one over by the bank for them to be able to launch there also.
So is there a convenience factor of raising it so they don't have to pay to launch?
No, because he said like this guy here, they're very organized. They do this all over the state. They're used to it. He just asked me what my launch fee was for the weekend, and he said, "Okay, we'll write you a check."
Okay.
And it's a slippery slope with fees too, because we've talked about, even with other events saying, okay, can we track the staff time that it takes to do these? And then, we're tracking time. And then I don't think we want to brown trout to feel like they're being targeted.
Yeah.
If we say, hey, we're going to put a fee on fishing festivals. So I think it's fine as long as, they are aware of, the things that we want them to do and they're cooperating because it is a lot of staff time to do that. And I think we're okay with that as long as they are accommodating as well. Because, this is a community event. It does bring people into town and, if they're purchasing permits, then, that's helpful as well.
And I guess one thing that I'm going to ask as far as like the parking and stuff like that, I think we're going to try to back that gate system up if we can. That way we're still allowing the storefront and the shop access for customers.
Yeah.
But then we're still controlling stuff on the other side. So I'm hoping
Have to swing it.
swing it out and around a little bit, maybe a couple more barricades.
Okay. Do they, when an event wants to be hosted in the marina parking lot, do they provide you a map of this is how much we need to run the
They're
event?
supposed to, yes.
Supposed to.
And so they've applied. And so Shannon's going to come back with all of her comments from you and kind of conditions to be issued in this permit. So, we have some time here and that's a little more complicated. So I don't even think everyone has responded to it yet, but before we issue, in that permit will be a list of conditions. And part of that process is them providing that site plan. And honestly, so we have Andy Marceau, our CRR officer, that will go down and check on things as well.
Yeah. So it sounds like from us, basically the key points is parking control for attendees that are participating in the event itself, the barricade, having a better, more formal understanding of like a site plan of what the event's taking up in terms of square footage and space, and then some kind of regulation or enforcement of overnight vehicles of places, vehicles that are spending night, or if they have pickup trucks there and they just leave them there, it's like, no, those got to go, things like that. Is there anything else that we think that, do we?
Is it more getting some discipline in it than the fee? I mean, fees are okay. So
I mean-
fee and the permit gives them the discipline that we need to protect ourselves.
And that's what I'm not worried about the fee. Yeah, it's
Okay.
probably the cheapest tournament fee that anybody has around the area. It is. It's fine. We've got staff that's full-time down there. We can function with it. We can accommodate it. It's a little bit more time on my part, a little bit more time on Cooter's part. We function, we go on. It's great for our community. It brings in a lot of business. It brings a lot of people to our downtown district. These are all great things. Brings recognition, hopefully, to the marina where we get more people in, the more the more things are better down there. I'm not looking to beat them up. I'm just trying to make it so it's, everybody's going to be just a little bit miserable that week. So let's try to make it so it's the least amount of miserable that it can be.
Sounds good.
Do we need to put some rule in place, like how many tournaments a year we allow?
That would be a good problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be a good problem. If I had 4 more tournaments where they came in and got overnight voting and stuff like that, it would help fill a lot of slips.
I think, the calendar is important and getting that. And so you're not rushed with everything. And I think that would be another factor, I would think.
Okay.
Did we answer all your questions?
I think so. I think that's enough for me. I will actually send you guys this list of stipulations via email so you guys can take a look at them, see if there's anything I'm being unreasonable about.
Are you thinking it's going to be something that we're shared with at the next committee meeting and like vote on, or is it?
I will probably just be, hey, this is what I'm going to put in there's a form that I actually have to go into and fill out. And then this is what I'm going to submit for our stipulations.
So unless we take exception to it.
Yes.
Okay.
Be happy with what I've done.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. On to concepts for Storefront.
So to those of you who haven't heard yet, Kushan's is going to be closing or has closed at this point in time, and they will be vacating the storefront. So I am looking for suggestions as to who we want to approach for the storefront and suggestions for possible businesses or business plan or types, plans, whatever.
Their liquor license goes with them, correct? It doesn't stay with the building.
I don't know. I think a lot of times it can be transferred.
Yeah, it can be transferred, but with him closing, I'm kind of looking at Ann on this one. And when he closes, he keeps the liquor license unless he sells it off, correct? It doesn't stay with the building.
I think it's going to escrow.
Okay.
But it's not tied to that location.
It's
Okay.
Yep.
Did he get redevelopment liquor license? No, or just a regular one? Okay, so that would just go back into the pot, I guess.
I mean, I feel like my thoughts on that space is that it has to be either very much maritime based that it exists, but I don't buy things. I mean, we own a sailboat. The most we ever bought from Rich when he ran it was rope. So I don't know how successful a part shop really would be if Reed and those guys can just have stuff mailed over within a day or two. So I don't know.
And they do carry the split in there was Arlie and Reed carry a lot of your parts per se in the shop section. That was part of their business plan. And then Kushan's was trying to carry or get a good supply of
Hardware and stuff.
the supplies, I guess is what I call them. The rope, the flares, the life vests, things like that.
You want your office in there? Welcome center.
Got to get our heat first.
Yeah.
What?
You want heat too?
Oh, I got heat.
Yeah, she's got a little space heater.
Yeah, no, we put heat in there. We put a furnace in there in order to
Okay.
Yeah.
accommodate the overwinter. So,
Do they need additional workspace? I mean, I know we fixed it up for kind of retail, but
they had talked about retail up there, but it would have been, they were concerned about the rent amount to do that. So,
Well, I mean, I think we have to consider, so basically everything that we get in rent is going to go back into that building.
Right.
And maintenance. So, what's the trade-off there? Do we want to, is that revenue generating or is it there as a service? So I don't know, maybe we talked about reaching out to Arlie and Reed and, seeing if they wanted to use more of that space. And maybe, we just really look strategically at what that rent is and what we want to do to the building.
because that was always the CIP money generated that you see in your CIP for that building was generated off of the rent that we received every year, plus a little bit extra.
And we could also put it back out there and see who in the community is interested. I mean, it's a tough location.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not on the beaten pathway. It's none of those things. So you're going to want to have to go there. Whatever is there, you're going to want to have to go there.
Yeah.
did we put an RFP out the last time when,
We did.
Yeah.
We can do that again. Because we asked about it, some of the people that we thought maybe would take a look at it.
So like the boathouse?
The boathouse opened a different, that was, we reached out to the boathouse. I didn't bandy anything. I sent it to
West Marine?
Yeah, thanks. West Marine. I sent it to Irish Boat Shop. I sent it to all of those places hoping, hey, do you guys want a satellite over here? And so, I mean, I wasn't scared to send it. So,
Do you think there's any harm in trying to put another one out there and just see if anything bites? And if not, then that leads to more of that providing a service type of, just in case things change within a year for some of these places, or because
and I know last year a lot of it was nobody could find help. That was probably the biggest response I think we had is they were afraid to open another venture because they couldn't get enough help to do what they had. So I don't know how much more that's improved, but we can try it again. I mean, we sent it to Portage. We sent it to like the businesses that had at the other marinas on the small lakes. So.
I mean, it doesn't take much to put one out.
No.
I mean, there's no harm.
Yeah, we obviously don't have any hot ideas at the moment now. So.
No, and I was hoping you guys had a brilliant idea.
Think anybody would use it as event space? And I know like my buddy got married at a marina down in Grand Rapids on the water, which was a cool venue.
Yep.
Depends on the type of wedding you want.
I mean, I feel like we can price it very competitively compared to other places.
So
And then at least it's getting
Is there a
used.
bathroom?
Yeah, it would have.
Yeah.
there is, but,
It's
not that kind of event.
well, but there are also.
But they could also bring in those nice porta potties, like
Yeah.
what it's
Right.
wedding.
The designer porta
We did that. They were pretty nice.
Well, and
Nice, but
You should have run with it.
all right, just that's what it was taking me so long. I was reviewing some of the final plans for the restroom, so I would expect those are going to go up for bid here shortly.
okay.
So I mean that's coming right across the street basically, and things like that. So.
Would there be any interest in using the space as a, I don't want to say storage unit, but there was that conversation about someone wanted that conversation of building another facility that it could store materials with and a little bit of training. Could this be a temporary space as like, hey, you want to have your youth sailing program in this space for the whiteboard training and what have you?
I mean,
Or is there a need that strong enough?
I mean, that's an interesting idea, though, training/event space,
use the sanctuary building for that.
what types of improvements?
They use some of the classrooms and rainy days and shit.
I mean, maybe restroom improvements.
Very nice.
I think that's.
It depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And like,
But it is a big open space.
Yeah, I'm just thinking
No, we can check.
fun cruise out of space is not all that unsimilar to that. And usually you had a section was delegated to the whiteboard or whatever. So I just didn't know. I know we don't have doors open enough to be like, hey, store the gifts in there stuff. You know, so I'm just thinking like, is there a way to reach out to like the youth sailing as a service? If we wanted to go the service route, here's the service option. But I don't know if that's something they even need.
Well, youth sailing takes all their boats other than the Yinglings are in the river, right?
Yes.
I know on rainy days, they come into the sanctuary for classes or whatever.
Is that what they do?
I think so, period. I mean, it's not a big deal, but
Yeah, so that's too far away for the youth sailing.
yeah,
Is it?
Or for the sailing school. The youth sailing
works there, yeah.
use either the yacht club or the boaters lounge. I think they.
Yeah, I've opened up the boaters lounge for them.
One other thing that just came to mind was along it's a pop-up space, you know, like maybe we market it as that. It's for your trainings, your events. I mean, we would have to make some modifications, and I don't know what we're looking at, just, you know, brainstorming here. But also, you know, there are pop-up retail during certain time. Maybe someone only wants it for a month for a pop-up retail, but that's still revenue coming in.
Yeah. I think my one biggest concern with that being a pop-up is that would there be a lot of staff time managing the different I mean, if there's demand for it versus the benefit we get from it. Because I love a pop-up idea, but you know, we just had a business fail because of the location. And you know, we always joke that Alpena they want every store to have a drive-through on it so they don't have to get out of the car. You know, you know, pop-up's a great idea, but is that going to give them the central location that a pop-up needs? I think that's where some of the struggle is. So I don't know.
Well, and it's something we can look at, you know, there's different vendors that could possibly go in there short term during the summer and stuff like that. So
I know we get a lot of demand at the library. We have those 2 little study rooms, and now we have these 2 small little meeting rooms, and they get booked a whole heck of a ton. And we don't, if you are I shouldn't say this on recording. If you are a nonprofit or if you are a patron of the library, it's free. But if you're not, let's just say you're a visiting organization that wants to host a meet and greet for the public, you're paying for it. So I don't know if that has a capacity for it. So maybe that's.
What is that, about 1,000 square feet?
I think so.
Guessing.
1,000 or 2,000, I can't remember off the top of my head.
It is a pretty spot. I mean,
you could
use
for
nice.
a few $1,000s get a setup for meetings
Right.
in there too.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the summer, you open up those doors, it's a really nice location to have.
Or even like a mini co-working space. I mean, you could really section it off and do maybe like, just open it up, like if you want to pay like a membership for the summer. I'd go work down there.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
office. But I know there's people like that go to the library that don't have something like that. I mean, I know that would require some investment into it. I don't know, I mean, we get requests from some vendors once in a while, like they want to sell their granola or stuff like that.
Or
I don't know.
artists.
Yeah, or
We've
artists or
had
something like that.
artists that want, you know, pop-up spaces too. So I think just, and you know, just that if they let people know that they're going to be down there for a week or something, maybe that's
Kind of a flexible space. Yeah.
And I think it's something that we could probably accommodate something like that type of business, or a micro business or something like that. I always hope that whoever went in there could micro business out to a couple other places or whatever, and it just never happened. So
that's part of the RFP as an option that we will entertain, you know, micro business or pop-ups. I don't know what that agreement looks like yet, but those tend to be a little more lucrative because they're a short time frame.
Because the internet's pretty strong there now, right?
Yes.
That would be the biggest thing that, like for us, a lot of people come to the library because we have state cable. We have state fiber coming in the building, so we have pretty fast internet.
So do I.
Calls and stuff. So they have all that. So I don't know if that would be the same that they could be offered for them or not through Wi-Fi, but
probably
I could see that being I don't know, something I could think of.
Okay. Well, that helps. That's more than we had. I'll send out the RFP again. I will expand my search I had a couple people that called me afterwards and said, why didn't I get a chance? I'm like, I don't know. I can lead the horse to water.
Yeah.
So those people, I have them in the back of my head right now that they're going to get an RFP this time. We'll go from there. Anything else that you want to add on that one?
I think we're all good on that.
Perfect.
April meeting date.
I am not going to be available for the April meeting date as scheduled for the first Thursday of the month. I'm going to be out of state, so.
Do we need one?
Off the top of my head, currently, no. I can't think of a reason unless you guys have a reason.
Well, if something came up, I guess you could call a meeting. Or Sherman.
And are you and Steve here?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I am. I don't know about him.
I guess, I mean, we could just call it no meeting, and then if something does come up, then try to find a common time for.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Okay.
We're kind of in flux anyways.
Okay.
Because then that gives us May and kind of make sure all the other things that are about to start up with the season get sorted out, so.
Yep.
Harbor Masters report.
We have a new employee, and for the life of me, I can't, it's Kyle, that's his name. We have a new employee named Kyle. Kyle, I think, is going to be a really great addition to the marina. He's just your level-headed, everyday hard worker. So I'm really excited for him to be starting next Tuesday. He has a pretty heavy maintenance, building maintenance, plumbing background. So he's going to, like I said, going to be a huge addition to the marina and the marina staff. With that, Kyle Thomas, that's his name. Other than that, the travel lift, everybody is still a little bit leery on what's going on there. The tires are here. We physically have all 4 tires here now, and we are getting the rims taken care of. Never buy a travel lift with airline tires that only originate in Europe. Is long story short on that.
Were they just weather checked and getting to the point where they're
Yeah,
problem?
they never had new tires on them since we bought it. So of course it fell on us to change the tires. Now, now that I'm the harbor master, of course, now the tires go bad on the travel lift. So that's taken care of. The next time we have to change them, please, baby Jesus, let not it be me. They're going to have to be switched over to mining tires and mining rims is the kind of how they have taken care of it at this point in time. We're working through the contract stuff with Arlie and Reed right now. That looks like it's going to be pretty easy. Again, we know there's going to be a small fee increase at this point in time. And what that's going to do is allow them another employee by doing that. So that'll make services a little bit more smooth for everybody down there. I think that's all I have.
What's your assessment of last year by year end? Everything went quite well as far as the wrapping and back,
They were comfortable with how things went. They were busy all year. They were comfortable. They couldn't find a steady employee for them to get help. Part of this fee increase is they basically were working for wages, and the business itself never made a whole lot of money. Year one, not so bad, but they broke even is what they told me. So hopefully things go smoother for them. Hopefully they can add an employee, and do some of those other. They had so much going on as far as just what contractual and stuff like that they really couldn't do some of the little extras that everybody else needed them to do and stuff like that. So I think this will help them be able to accommodate some of that bottom painting and stuff like that in the business.
What do they pay for rent again for their space?
I'm looking at Cassie. But with their utilities, they pay $525.
Okay.
Their heater went out too. I had to fix their heater too.
Oh, lovely.
The nice thing there is Reed. I got to give Reed a lot of kudos. He realized what was going on, that we were having issues with the heat, stuff like that. Got with me right away. Had a extended relative who worked in that business. He came down, met with us that day, got things figured out. We figured out a way to get a heater in there and get it in there reasonably. So that was pretty huge that we were able to get that the way it did. So again, kudos to Reed who worked his tail off to make that happen so that we have reliable heat in that building now. Oh, the other thing I know I have is I had a person approach me. They need to do 80 hours of community service this spring in the marina. So there'll be kind of a extra set of hands as we get started in May.
Cool.
I'm hoping he might be able to do some painting specifically on the marina storefront.
Get one more of those, just chase geese.
Yeah.
That's what I need. I need a couple more to chase geese. I need 3 more to do weeding. So Officer Markwart now knows, or not Officer Markwart anymore, parole probation officer Markwart now knows that I am looking for people. So
Good. Hey, if it works.
yeah, whatever works for me, that's where I'm going with. Whatever works for Shannon. That's all I have.
Public comment. Member comment?
I've been to the store a couple of times just when we started talking about what we were going to do with it. And I was excited when everybody said, let's get West Marine. Not that I'm a real fan of West Marine, but 38 years of being in Port Huron with my sailboat, they got a lot of my money.
Yeah.
So that would be perfect. Not that my boat's as big as the other one, but nonetheless, some way to get parts up here would be ideal.
Okay.
But that doesn't sound like they want to come here. These stupid people.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you sharing that. Were we still thinking about setting up some type of sitting area in front of the murals, or is that now on hold because of the transition?
I'm going to drag my feet just a hair on it.
Okay.
Waiting to see what kind of business wants to go in there. Because if they want to use that as an outdoor sitting area for something, I don't want to have usurped their area.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Sounds good. That's all I had. Staff comments. Cool.
Not staff.
Oh, that's right. No. So next meeting will be sorted for May, and we will be talking about commercial businesses, SOP, and advertising. So move to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Meeting adjourned.